Hi everyone, this is Cody Smith. Welcome to my channel, Cody Smith Peer Support with Christ. I just want to let everyone know I'm still working on my book, The World of Disability, and I've gotten 11 chapters done, which has kind of gone through the different stages of my life: childhood, middle school, high school, college, and after college. But I want to add in a lot of the information about trying to figure out where does disability come from? Does it come from creation or does it come from evolution? And what's the evidence? And trying to put everything in the proper order and those sorts of things. And I welcome all questions and comments because I want to be able to answer your questions. And if there's something you're curious about when it comes to having a disability or living with a disability, um, you know what you know what are you curious about, and how can I answer this and fill in the blank spots? But keep in mind, I can only speak for myself. And honestly, I liken my story to the allegory of the cave. In case you're not familiar with that, that's where you had these men who, from birth, have been chained in a cave facing the back wall, and there's a fire behind them where they can only see shadows of what's going on outside of the cave and can only guess about what's happening, and so they don't have full knowledge. And in my case, I feel as if I'm in a cave, and my cave is disability. My chains are the effects of my personal disability, cerebral palsy, but my chains are internal rather than external. And unlike a regular cave, my cave has a door where I can, and I have a key to that door where I can unlock it and allow people to come in and see that I'm bound and that, I'm stuck in this cave. I can't get out of it because my disability is permanent and has existed from birth. But, I can't take the chains off. I can't unlock it. No one can break them off of me. And, me opening my mouth and telling people my life story or writing it down in a book is my way of, allowing people into my cave. And I want to give people this firsthand account of life with a disability so that can be your gateway into the disability community, both in America and around the world, just in case you've ever had the curiosity, so that maybe once you learn my story, that would make it easier and less, you know, tense or whatever you want to call it for you to go and talk to other people with other disabilities. But keep in mind, it's not a one size fits all, so you can't expect my story to be identical to everyone else's. And I want to look deep into this and see, like, okay, again, is this the result of creation or is this the result of evolution? And see, like, what does each side have to say, and then which one does the evidence point to? That's what I'm trying to do, and I don't mean to start an argument about this. I just want to say I want to objectively look at this in the book and see which one the evidence points to, and that way we can really see, okay, what's truly going on here and how did this truly start. And that's what I want for everyone to be able to do. Using my life as, your gateway, your open door to the world of people with disabilities, and see that we are the same as everyone else no matter what, because our disabilities are nothing more than life circumstances that we have to deal with, and we didn't choose or cause or do anything to earn or whatever. They were all forced on us, and we had no choice, and we have to use, our free will and whatever else we have at our disposal to figure out a way around the restraints that these disabilities cause so that we can, live our life as independently as possible, whether we use extra tools or we create our own individual methods of doing things. And that is what I want everyone to know. And I plan on doing this. And I hope to have the book finished and published by the end of this year so that I can get it out to the public and the public can read my story and know what really happens, at least for me. Because again, it's not a one size fits all. But hopefully, that'll be, if you hear my story, that'll open it for you to realize, okay, now that I know this, maybe it'll make it more comfortable for me to go and talk to somebody else and, pause and hear their side of the story before I jump to conclusions or bring out stereotypes or myths and not just rely on what the doctor says, because the doctor is not the expert since they don't live with it day to day. Those of us who have the disabilities are, because we live with it day to day and we feel it internally, externally, and everything. And pretty much everything the doctor knows could easily be found on Google nowadays. So it's not that difficult to learn the medical information. What's difficult is to learn the personal and experience information, because that is the part you can only, you know, experience firsthand. Even watching a person with a disability from the outside, you can't learn what we know unless we tell you, because you can't feel what we feel and experience what we experience. And our experiences are not a one size fits all, one to one, anything like that. Even for two people who have the exact same disability, our experiences are going to be different because we're going to have different milestones that we struggle with and different milestones that we overcome, and we're going to deal with them our own way based on our own free will and our own strengths and weaknesses. And that is something that I want the world to know. But that is no different than anyone else on the face of the earth, whether they have a disability or not, because, we're all going to struggle with something because we're not perfect. And we're all going to try to deal with it in our own free way because we all have free will. And we all do what works best for us, whether that be somebody with a disability, somebody who's in poverty, somebody who's short, somebody who's tall, somebody who's fat, somebody who's skinny, somebody who's, you know, it doesn't matter, somebody who doesn't speak English, if they struggle to learn English, if they, have trouble with getting a certain job, it doesn't matter the situation, the circumstance, we're all going to deal with it in our own way. So that's kind of the point. And I just want everyone to know that I'm here to try to talk to you and answer your questions and have a real conversation in the comments section. So please feel free to leave your questions and comments in the comments section. Please like, share, and subscribe. And I will see you tomorrow for another video. Thanks everyone. And again, all questions and comments are welcome, but please try to be gentle with that and try not to argue too much, because I've had that happen and that was very uncomfortable. So just try to leave everything open for discussion. Thanks everyone.